everybody, welcome back. So in this video we're going to talk about the unbalanced butterfly. So far, every video has been about a way to use weekly options in different trade strategies. The last few videos were about a butterfly, and that's really like throwing a dart at a target. You have to get price right into a certain spot. And one of the tactics that we use is the weekly expected move indicator, and we just always pick the top line. There's going to be a lot of times where price doesn't make it up to that line, or it makes it up there and then falls away due to linear regression or mean reversion. And at that point, we would lose the trade or we wouldn't make as much. There is a way, however, to kind of cover both sides. As long as price doesn't outrun the top of the line that you see, the top line, and even if it does only by a little bit, we can build a trade that covers both lines. That trade is an unbalanced butterfly. So the way that it works, or the way that we would be using it, is we would use the top side, only the top side, right? So every blue or cyan colored line, that would be where our target is. And you can see that there are losers. And I do want to stress that these will hurt if you miss. If price breaks out the top and continues to run, you're going to lose. Now you do, of course, have the chance of shutting it down during market hours, but SPY is a product that can run 24 hours a day. So while it's running for 24 hours a day, you only have the intraday time frame to manage a position. This is not for the faint of heart, and it is still fair. It's fair because you're covering both lines. You can't get anything for free. And if you think that you're going to just have this amazing success rate by covering the top line with an unbalanced butterfly and being able to make profit even when price goes to the bottom line, you're right. But if it outruns the top line like it did this Friday, you will get crushed. You will be annihilated. And here's the worst part. If it popped up on a Thursday like this, and you believe, okay, I can close that on Thursday, take a little bit of loss, but if I hang on to it, more than likely price is going to come down on Friday and it's going to let me out, and I don't want to close down a winning trade. I'm going to hang on to it. And then in the overnight hours, it gaps up even more. It's going to hurt. Okay, and you have to hold on to that through the day as it worked its way back down, hoping that it gets down far enough to let you out with less pain. So while this trade does cover both lines, it does take all of the loss from the bottom side and put it up top. All right, remember a typical butterfly, you need to be right on the line, and if you overshoot, you lose. It hurts a little. If you don't make it there at all, it hurts a little. And if you hit in the middle, then it's a gold mine. Well, this one, it can fall all at once, you'll still make money, and it can hit the line, you'll be a gold mine. If it outruns you, it's going to hurt. So let's take a look at what that hurt looks like. Here we have a $2 wide trade. Now remember, typically in this $2 wide trade, we might risk $20, $15, $18, right? It doesn't hurt that bad. I want you to take a look at the upside over here at $323. If SPY was to run past your 320 and land somewhere around that 323, you're looking at $366 of loss. Yes. This is not a regular butterfly. Regular butterflies are cheap. They don't hurt. We build them appropriately and things are fine. This one is going to hurt. Okay. On the other side of that, price can run all the way up to 321 and you still wouldn't be in a losing trade. You would need to hang on to it through most of the trading session on the end of the day at expiration, and then hope to get out when this green line is forming the shape of this red line. So perhaps you might see just break even or a little bit of loss. If it overshoots you around that $1 range, anything below 320 has profit. This thing could fall all the way to $3, you would still have profit. Okay? So the bottom side is covered by how much credit you received. And the top side is covered up to around $1 past your strike. This is not a complicated trade. You can see it's a 1-3-2 instead of a 1-2-1. We do have 3 that we bought to cover the 3 that we sold. We just stacked them differently. Now I'm going to show you another way to build this. So I rebuilt the trade, the same calls, the same position of those calls, but instead of a 1-3-2, it's a 2-3-1. It's also a debit instead of a credit. Now in this trade, if SPY falls too low, below, we'll call it 318.25, then it's going to hurt a little bit, the $56 that you paid. If it hits the sweet spot, the 320, you get your profit somewhere around the 250 range, right? That's realistic. And then if it just completely runs to the moon, well, you still have profit, $44 in fact. And this thing could run as high as it wants to go, you'll still see profit. Now this unbalanced butterfly would be something that you might think about doing using that top side logic. So let's reconstruct this a little bit and see if we can get a little lower down. But remember, we need to be able to reconstruct it in a way that keeps the tent at the 320. So here I did a little bit of work. I brought the top strike down closer to the 320, and I dropped the lower strike a little farther down. So now SPY could fall below the 318 and you would still see profit. We do have more loss now to the bottom side. We're risking 145, but if SPY breaks and runs above the 320, we get to see profit all the way into this region here. Okay, and as far as it goes higher, we would still get that 355. Now this is a really great trade, but there is an ask here. Right now, SPY is at 312. We need SPY to run all the way up above 317.75 before we even start to see profit. So we're saying in a trade like this that we're expecting SPY to run from 312.77 to 317.77 just to see break even. That's $5. It's a big move. We do have all week to get there. So if SPY runs, say, $10 and gets up to 322.77, you're making that 355. And you made 355 after risking 145. That's not bad. We could try to shift everything down since we really don't expect to actually get the max profit in the tent. And let's see what we can do with that. Alright, so I did a little reconstruction, kept it $2 wide. We're paying $1.09 here, and if the market completely outruns our position and gets past the 320, then we're just going to keep that 91 all the way up. This isn't quite a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, but it's pretty close. Remember, the idea here is that we're aiming for the 320, that is where we believe price is really going to be. I think the other unbalanced SPYs offered a better opportunity than this one. I just wanted to point out that even if we kept the metrics the same and we continued to play around with these, we can build all kinds of constructions that look to cover one side or the other. In this one, we're looking at an upside rally that just runs away. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but Sig, how come you didn't just build it on the lower lines? We could, but the debit becomes exorbitantly large. Isn't that a crazy word? So it's just a very, very big trade. We would look to probably need around $700 for us to put this trade on at the bottom. And again, you might be thinking, yeah, but Sig, it covers the bottom and the top line. Yes. However, if SPY was to fall below those top lines and we paid $700 or $800 to get into it, we're risking $700 or $800. You don't want to be holding that kind of risk on a trade that is supposed to lose a lot. Keep that in mind. While we have designed and developed a trade strategy that does have a very high win rate, it still is a trade that is known to lose a lot. You want to perform these trades again and again and again in a mechanical and rote fashion, without any hesitation, without any doubt. You just automatically know that on Friday afternoon you're putting on a butterfly for the next week's target. You could put them on Mondays as well. It's one of the nice things about having a strategy like this is it can be a day of the week. Every Monday you go in, you look at the market, and you make a decision. Am I going to put it on this week and aim for that top line? By waiting through the weekend, you can get a really good idea of what kind of week you're going to be dealing with. You do make less profit in the trade if you wait until Monday, but you do avoid the weekend crush from any really negative news that could happen around the world and really smack down your trade, right? Because remember, we are aiming for the top. So any negative news would almost guarantee that we're not going to hit that upward target and cause you a losing trade. All right, guys, so the unbalanced fly, if you remember from earlier in the video, it was a 132. I changed it to a 231. Do keep in mind that it doesn't take anything more than the swap of a flip like that, and we're immediately looking at the other side. Just nice and simple, just like that. And you can perform so many different paths and calculations in here that you could literally spend an afternoon building one trade in a variety of different ways, right? They're so well named to call them options. Don't get hung up in here. Don't let things get out of control for you, all right? This does not have to be drastic. It does not have to be extreme, and it does not have to hurt your head. Don't let the entire wealth of options and choices in here stop you from performing the trade. You can end up with paralysis analysis if you screw around too long or too much. You kind of want to really understand what it is you're trying to do here and keep that in mind at all times so that you don't just spin your wheels. Our target is the 320. We're trying to maximize our risk in case SPY outruns the top of us. And if it doesn't even come close to getting up to the top of us, then we can eliminate most of the risk or even all of it. Right now, I've still got a debit on the bottom side. If I was to get this into a credit, then anything below the 320 would be profitable. I would get to keep my credit. Right? So if I take it up one more strike, there's the 317. I got a credit of 1 penny. It still counts as a credit. Do keep in mind, though, that when we remove all the loss from the bottom side of this, it doesn't go away. It just puts it somewhere else. And where it put it is at the top of this butterfly. So if you did get overrun in a trade like this, oh, it's going to hurt. You're going to know it. Okay, so nothing is free. If you think that you can cover both sides in a trade like this, you're absolutely right. You can cover both sides of the trade, but if you miss and the market completely outruns you, it is going to hurt and it's not going to be comfortable at all. Okay, guys, so I appreciate your time. I know that the unbalanced fly only has one video. It might seem like I'm jumping over it quite a bit, but we've already done so much work on the butterfly already that those previous videos should already have you completely understanding the value of this trade. And with that, I'll see you at the next video.